Hey guys, this is Chuck. This is a video for my patron guys. I'm back at my East Coast residence, and I was watching a little YouTube, and I saw a video pop up on my recommended feed, and it was about a 3 foot or 42 inch, whatever, blade style whip antenna. Um, and I can't remember the manufacturer. The reason why I brought this up is because Oak City Tactics posted, I think it was on the gram or whatever, and tagged me and Ambrosia Terrebone about this tactical blade antenna. And it was not from the manufacturer that was tested, but it was the same. And so I responded back to it on the gram, but since it's germane to the radio conversation that I had about the Baofangs and all of that, I wanted to kind of throw it out there. So at the end of this video on Patreon, in the responses, after I post the link to this video that I'm making now, I'm going to share the YouTube link to an actual, whatever, somebody that's smart about radios and has antenna testing equipment or whatever. And essentially, he bought this 42-inch blade antenna, and then he tested it out in the both bands of the ham spectrum, the amateur radio spectrum. Your 130 to 150-ish, and then your upper and your 400s or whatever. And what I thought, okay, and you got to understand that my antenna theory comes from being issued a 148 radio, and I mean it actually goes back further than that. But when the 148 embidder came out, it came with three different antenna in order to meet the very wide spectrum of frequencies that the embidder radio was capable of. It was the first multi-spectrum radio, uh, individual tactical radio that the SOCOM community had ever gotten. Back in the day, we had to carry HF radios and UHF line of sight radios and VHF low band Fox mic radios, and none of them could really talk in multiple frequencies. And then we got manpack radios like the 117 and radios like that allowed us to talk both UHF and UHF, which is our primary line of sight communication to talk to aircraft for, like, parachute drops or CAS or things like that, and then our VHF low band, our Fox mic, and then in between those frequencies, you had your Saber radios and your kind of commercial grade that had been brought into the special operations community as tactical radios. Your Motorola MX300s, your Saber Rs, or whatever, and they were operating in that VHF, the VHF higher VHF ranges in the 170s and 150 to 170, somewhere in there. So the embidder radio could do it all. But when they fielded the radio, they fielded us multiple antennas, and the lower range in that you want to talk to a 119 ASIP or a Singar's radio, whatever, that 30 or 35 to 80, that's what the regular military, the DoD, the ground people, the Marines, the Army, that's the freak range FM that they operated in, and those required those longer blade antennas in order to work well. And so, you had your short whip, your foldable one that looks a lot like what came with the embedder. You had that for the ASIP radio, the 119, and then you had a longer, like 8 foot long metal long whip antenna for the 119. So, without any like specific instruction on radio theory and antenna and wave propagation, quarter wave, half wave, 5/8 inch wave, all this stuff that I've truly not gotten educated on, I just had a hunch that when I saw this market out there for antennas, these trifold blade antennas that I've seen people using on embidders downrange in combat now for over 15 years, that what I was witnessing was a clone aesthetic. I was saying, okay, so you got guys playing milsim or LARPing or whatever, and they see these folded blade antennas being carried by special forces operators in Afghanistan or whatever, and they want their Baofeng, whatever. They want that radio, which is their airsoft radio or whatever. They want that to be able to look like what the real deal, real steel guys downrange are using. I really, like, at my gut, I did not feel that these antennas were being designed uh, and marketed for actual increased radio performance based off just what limited I knew about antennas and how they work in the different frequency ranges. So sure enough, Oak City Tactics posted this on the gram, so I kind of shared my opinion. Like, I don't have the science to back it up, but I just don't think that these long 3-foot blade antennas, which I knew based on the 3 antennas that I was issued for the embedder radio, the ones that were the blade antennas were being used way south of the amateur radio spectrum. So sure enough, it's almost like our phones are listening to us. I get a recommended antenna video on my YouTube feed where this guy actually hooks it up and does dB noise reduction and stuff like that. And what are the guy's results? You guys need to click and watch the video. But the Reader's Digest version is, hey, on the very low end of the VHF spectrum that he tested in, the blade antenna did really good. Imagine that. It's almost like an antenna that was optimized for 30 to 85 would work good in 130 because it's the closest thing to 30 to 85. But when you took it over there to the 400 range, it performed pretty crappy, except for when you folded it because you made it a shorter antenna. Wow. Like, it's all the things that as a layperson I kind of knew about antenna stuff. When you need a longer antenna on the lower end, if you fold it, it performs like crap. And if you need it on the higher end and it's too long and you fold it, it's almost like it gets closer to being properly matched. So although this guy's video that I'm going to link to, although it's pretty technical, at the very end when he gets out on the whiteboard, he kind of explains to you what values mean for us lay people that don't understand or whatever. So I highly recommend patrons that you guys watch this video from this other guy and kind of debunk the myth. Like, if you are looking for emergency comms antenna, the Nagoya 771, that was the antenna when I did the unboxing, and the that aftermarket long antenna that was in my 6-pack that I got off Amazon. It had the same nomenclature, but I couldn't remember the company that had the kind of most prolific or popular Baofeng multiband antenna, the Nagoya. He tests the Nagoya, the actual Nagoya 771 Alpha or whatever. He tests it as one of his control antennas in that. It comes in second place across the board, getting beat by this other whip antenna, but only in certain characteristics, and crushing the 3-foot whip wannabe embedder antenna in a bunch of other characteristics. But it was a steady performer in second place across the board and across multiple bands, whereas certain dedicated antennas outperformed it. So the Nagoya 771 Alpha, there's probably a reason why radio nerds like that as a good performing multiband antenna for the Baofeng. And sure enough, when the guy hooks it up to the spectrometer frequency sucker 9000 nerd devices, it performed as advertised. Second place, steady performer across the board, across the entire spectrum. So is the wannabe 771 that's in my Baofeng 6-pack kit from Amazon that a bunch of y'all have probably run out and bought. Is that as good as the Nagoya 771? I don't know. I ain't got a radio spectrometer 9000 thingamajigger. But I know Diamond performs. They've got that solid name brand recognition. And so, I have no reason to believe that Diamond, um, either a Diamond that has, I said it was BNC, it's TNC, Tango November Charlie. A Diamond with a Tango November Charlie to SMA, which is the Baofeng adapter on it, or Diamond makes an SMA base. So you can get the same antenna that it's TNC for Tango November Charlie for most of your reputable dual band amateur radio deals. You can either get the one that'll work on your hams and then do an SMA adapter for your Baofengs, or you can pay the $22.95 and get a Diamond with an actual SMA on the ass end of it to stick into your Baofengs. You know me, I don't like advocating stuff I haven't tried, but Diamond has been such a solid performer in all of the reviews and everything. I just don't think that they're going to make any junk. So if I don't have the equipment to go out and do a bunch of radio reviews and I have the money to throw at the problem, the reviews that I've read of Nagoya 771 versus Diamond, Nagoya at best is as good as Diamond, and Diamond outperforms it in this niche of Baofeng extended, bigger than factory rubber ducky, increased performance for the Baofeng radios. So Nagoya, not a counterfeit, like legit Nagoya, or Diamond, I think are just optimal. Why would you, unless you're dealing with the aesthetic, why would you want a 40 something inch blade that works like asshole when you fold it up, coil it up, and wrap it with the Velcro? If you use that thing in VHF, in all of the VHF, we're talking Maritimes down there, we're talking FRS is down there. If you're running that tactical cloner milsim 40 something inch antenna, but folded VHF low, look at the whiteboard in this video I'm going to link you guys to and see what just a trash performer it is. You get a little bit of that back when you run it in the way up in the 400s, which a stupid 40 something inch blade antenna shouldn't even be up in that high range anyway. But by coiling it and reducing its effectiveness on the low end, it actually does better for it up in the high end or whatever. So if you've got one of those folded antennas already, whether you're in, if you are doing milsim or whatever, and nobody's dogging anybody about having the aesthetic. If you are trying to be period correct, reenact milsim, whatever, then that is a period correct or a clone correct style of antenna. But you still got to be able to talk to your buddies in the match. Like you have comms so that you don't get your ass kicked with the 6mm BBs. So so you should know that if depending on what freak range your radio club, not your radio club, but your milsim group is in, if you're working in the lower end with those radios, I don't know about, sorry, into pop-ups busting into my crap. So if if you're using it outside of a frequency range that you should be using it for, not licensed or whatever, I don't care about all that. But what I'm saying, best comms on the milsim field, and you're running a period correct antenna. If you're in that 400, probably needs to be coiled. If you're running in the lower range, then you might need to go to a remote cable cabling and run it extended up off the back of your plate carrier for your period piece, um, Milson, for Milson. If you're going to run a period correct radio, you still need to know something about radio so that you have good comm when you're fighting in the urban warfare, Connex Village, or wherever you guys are reenacting these period battles, or whatever is part of that force on force experience, competitive experience. I don't want you to be out of comms just because you're using a period correct antenna for whatever your outfit is for whatever person that you're simulating. So just want to throw it out there. I bumped across the video. I didn't just want to post a link to the video and you guys that aren't on the gram not know, like, why is Chuck all of a sudden talking about blade antennas for these emergency radios or whatever. He talks about how beefy those antennas are and how fragile those Bafang emergency radios are around the SMA connector. It's all stuff that directly applies to you if you guys are not carrying, but having these radios on hand for an emergency situation to come in the future where you would break them out. Them information to help you guys make more educated decisions if you're trying to integrate communications capability into your family response plan or whatever. Anyway, I'm rambling. Chuck from Presscheck patrons, love you guys. Going to be hitting the I'm hitting the road. I've got closed enrollment stuff this coming week. No fail pistol class. Next weekend, and then another week of closed enrollment after that. Hope this video is educational. Peace out. Where's the stop button? I don't do YouTube videos on my phone. I don't know how to stop this. How do I stop the video? Stop, video, stop. Aha! Got it.